Let's look at it from the context of the Constitution.
Yes.
Clearly disqualifies somebody with any political affiliation or preferences as INEC chairman. Ditto the Electoral Act. So, while we are blaming Amupitan, what do we make of the president who will argue intentionally appointed him, knowing that he has a preference for a political party?
Well, the president said the reason why he appointed Amupitan is because Amupitan is not connected to any political party. He doesn't have a position. But Nigerians have proven the president wrong. Of course, the president is a politician. I'm not trying to excuse him. But Nigerian politicians cannot be trusted. Anything they say good morning in the morning, you have to really be sure that it is actually good morning. So I don't think anybody even took what the president said with any level of seriousness. So, and then you have a professor of law committing all kinds of mistakes, even a mistake that somebody in primary six will not commit. I want to go back to the case of ADC, where a court made a very simple pronouncement. Some of us, I covered the courts, different courts, from Abuja High Court, Federal High Court, AP Court, and Supreme Court. The court made a pronouncement that nobody should do anything that we disturb the matter, and then the man is interpreting the thing to mean that it is when the case was instituted. Antebellum in Latin and whatever is before the act was started, before that court case began. Some of us who did Latin in the seminaries know the meaning of it. Doesn't have two meanings, it doesn't have Nigerian meaning. So why should a professor, who became a professor of law, if he doesn't know Latin? And I'm surprised how he became a professor of law, because for you to be a lawyer, you must be very conversant with Latin maxims. It is very, very common. You don't even need to go to a seminary like some of us went to Catholic seminaries. You don't need to go to a seminary to know Latin language. You can even run a private course. So you can even go to the internet and browse and see the meaning of what the judge said. And of course, the judge does not have, he cannot exonerate that judge who made that kind of nasty comment in a judgment as very strong as trying to stop the opposition from actually becoming the real opposition that they are. The judge actually wanted to cause problem, wanted to cause confusion. What is so difficult in the judge explaining what he means in your judgment? Because a lot of judges who do not want, who is that? The father of Charlie Boy, when he was the Speaker of. Yes, I covered the Human Rights Commission that the auditor headed. If the auditor is going to make a pronouncement, he makes it very, very plain in plain English. If you read a lot of his judgments in the Supreme Court, not these characters they have in the Supreme Court now that can just pick up money, cheap money, and just give out a judgment that will damage their name. They don't care about their names. They don't even care about their own children. If you don't care about your name, what about your children? When they show up somewhere and introduce themselves as a son of so and so person that has already, demonized, that means self-inflicted a damage on his image and on his integrity or his character, what are my children going to say? That is the question they should ask. But the judges we have right now, not all the judges, some of those characters, some of them even attend convocation ceremonies with politically exposed persons. And when they catch them, they say, I was invited differently. But you were seen having conversations with a man who has a case before you, and you are actually the one that ruled against the other party. I'm talking about the case of the Rivers State governor and his so-called godfather. And then you have a judge of the Supreme Court who gave a judgment being found hibernating with Wike in a convocation ground. And you're beginning to, these guys don't have shame. And that was how this thing just faded. I don't blame them, I blame Nigeria. Nigerians they don't have, it's like a lot of Nigerians they are wired to just say something today, shout like shout like a dog. The next day, they forget about the thing, and the worst thing keep on happening. Because let me give you an instance. There are so many things that are wrong in the country. About, I think 200 or even 400 people were killed in a community in Kwara State. And the remaining population were captured and taken into the bush. The army couldn't get those people out at that time. No Nigerian person went to the street to protest. It was as if, well, it's them. It's not Kwara people. Let them deal with them now. Yeah, well, there are those people there. Or when this Boko Haram, problem started, some of us who were writing opinions in the media, we were telling Nigerians, particularly Nigerians from the south, do not see Boko Haram affliction as something that is domiciled and located only in the north. Because if something starts in a particular place, by the time they no longer have clients, let me use the word clients, if they no longer have customers who they want to kill, they will look for places where you have people now. That's why you have Boko Haram infiltrating communities in southwest. Boko Haram have infiltrated communities in Ondo State. They have killed a first-class monarch. In fact, as we speak, the people of Ondo State who are very serious-minded, I mean, those of them, very few of them, out of the millions they have in Ondo State, just very few came out on the street to block the road and said, governor must take action. You must chase away terrorists who are hiding in our forest and the rest of them, you know. Then the others are just... So, because of that, Boko Haram is already infiltrating communities. And even today, as we speak, the people they call bandits, I don't know who the bandits are, invaded the community in Ikwere, in River State, and kidnapped the vigilante chief and escaped into the bush. And then, that is it. So, if you think because something is happening in Zamfara State, that Boko Haram people are killing, the Fulani terrorists are killing Hausa people, because that's what is happening in Zamfara State or Katsina. Most of the people that are being killed are Hausas. Those doing the killing are Fulanis. It's like inter-ethnic conflict over ownership of farms, ownership of cows, and the rest of them. That's what's happening. They now turn it into a national issue, and everybody cannot have rest. You can't travel again from Kaduna to Zamfara or travel to Sokoto, unless you are very lucky to escape. Otherwise, 78% of people who travel there are usually kidnapped. So it's a very terrible situation.
Given what the INEC chairman did by freezing the ADC and removing them from their portal, and given that Electoral Act gives mandatory timelines for election processes, what does it make of the chances of ADC with the Electoral Act mathematically making it impossible for them to make the primaries? In plain language, is INEC committing electoral sabotage right now?
That's exactly what INEC is doing. That's exactly what INEC is doing. And that is exactly why this man was brought from University of Jos, where he was teaching. You teach University of Jos, sometimes it takes you like 3 months before you get a 1 month salary. Now you've been put into a place where you have trillions. Yes, INEC is so rich now that the money that is under their table is just a lot of money. So you brought somebody from maybe from poverty and you put him in a warehouse where you have a lot of dollars. You understand? And the man is just misbehaving. And he doesn't even know that the reason why you are appointed, you are going to make money by the grace of God. You don't even need to steal any money. I am not saying that he has stolen money, but anybody who is in INEC does not need to steal money for him to make money, because they are well paid, they are well taken care of. Just like if you are made a commissioner in Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, there was a certain board of, I was also in a board, but not as juicy as NEC. When that board, their time expired, they paid themselves to 2 billion naira each. If you have 2 billion naira in Nigeria, unless you are a drug addict, 2 billion naira can last you a lifetime.
And that's 2 billion of them.
Yes. 2 billion can last you a lifetime. And that's why most of them are not actually even making any noise. They're just okay, they're comfortable. So what I'm saying is you don't need to rob the country for you to be rich. If you're appointed into INEC, you're going to make it. And if you make a good name in INEC, you will never lack consultancy, you will never lack job, even in overseas, because people will definitely know. The media will put you there. But you have characters in INEC that they don't care about their own image even. So if Amopiton cares about the little thing that is still left in his image, he should resign.
Yes, talking about resignation, calls for resignation is widespread. Civil society, ADC, and other interest groups.
Yes.
But the argument is that even if he resigns or the president sacks him, he will still reappoint another loyalist. What do you think?
Sorry, well, the president will appoint, but he will not have enough time to hold conferences. I'm sure the president had a lot of conferences, because definitely if a president wants to hold a meeting with somebody in Aso Rock, it's not too many people that will know that you are there. If you go to Aso Rock, not everybody will know that you are there. So he may have had a lot of conferences, even telephonic conversations, because the telephone that the president uses is protected. It's not the type that anybody will monitor or listening to. He may have had a lot of conversations either through a third party, then they have already planned what to do with this man. But I don't think he will have enough time, except maybe now that pressure is on this man. If he has respect, self-respect, he will resign. Maybe the president by now would have started scouting for another person that they will educate. You understand? But this one that is very, very evident that he is not neutral, he should leave. And then the question you ask whether electoral act limitation of time and the rest of them, I think it is very impossible for INEC and the president to chase away credible opposition leaders from the next year election. Nigeria is not like Uganda. Nigeria is not like Uganda or Cameroon, where you have total one-party system, where even the party that is in power will be the one that will register other parties to come and contest against them. That sort of thing will not happen in Nigeria because you have committed people who are really, really committed. And in the case of Nigeria now, unless maybe the kind of hunger that people are feeling now, if it's not really, if it's not properly circulated, it's not across the country. Maybe I think I've been seeing sharing rice to some people. I don't know if the people that are collecting the rice, maybe they're very comfortable. Otherwise, most people are hungry. So what is going to happen now is that people must have made up their mind that this is what is going to happen. So I don't think INEC will succeed in getting the opposition politicians out of the way for them not to contest the elections. They will contest. I think ADC has even made a plan. They say they want to use the APC's model of consensus. If they want to do that, it doesn't take so much time for them to organize their primaries. In fact, I've even started organizing primaries and conventions, you know. The APC has started doing that. And we pray that the Supreme Court will not behave like the way they did in the Hope Uzodimma's case against Emeka Ihedioha, whereby a hope that came forth was made first, which is mathematically a criminal. It is not possible by a person that came forth, even by the calculation of INEC itself. INEC was in that court. Some of us were in the court to cover that case. Only for the current chief judge, who was the one that she gave that useless judgment. Unfortunately, the American embassy slapped a sanction on her traveling visa ban on her and other people who did that injustice. So I hope the Supreme Court, even though the Supreme Court is even worse than what it was that time, the Supreme Court has degenerated down the gutters. Let's pray, because this is something that has to do with our future, especially for some of us who don't have enough resources to airlift our children, because some of us will never travel, even if there's a total war in the whole of the country. I'm not going to leave Nigeria for anybody. When we join the war, war is just either you die or you survive. Most of us don't have money to either take our children to maybe England, Canada, or US, to hide them there. So you guys stay there. Let us even see what will happen in this country. You know. So it's just for that purpose that people are saying, let us organize election that at least look credible. So I hope the Supreme Court will not play supreme foolery with the judgment they're going to bring out after today's hearing. It's not all about ADC, it's about Nigerians versus Tinubu, who is afraid of opposition. I don't know why somebody who claims to be a pro-democrat, which we know he's not even a pro-democrat, because if you look at the Abacha period, when some of us were on the streets, some of us were even very young, we were just entering higher institutions, some of us who were on the street of Lagos, fighting for the revalidation of the victory that Emeka Abiola got. What do you call him, Tinubu? Who is a coward? Ran away and went to United Kingdom.
Why do you say he's a coward?
He's a coward because why didn't he stay back? All of us stayed back here. Femi Falana, did he run away? Didn't you see him in Nigeria here fighting? Olisa Bakoba, did he run away?
He had to leave to fight.
No, it is wrong. Most of those guys I've mentioned now were even much more vocal than Tinubu. Tinubu is not very articulate, so he wasn't even making serious verbal position. Femi Falana was always was always fighting Abacha. Did he run away? Tinubu is just a coward. He just ran away and went to probably because he's a very rich person, so he's just afraid. He don't want to die. He has a lot of money, so he had to run to London to go and hide. And now they are saying, I'm a pro-democrat. If you're a pro-democrat, why are you afraid of the opposition? What are you afraid of? Why are you spending our money fighting Peter Obi? If you calculate properly, if Nigeria is a country that functions properly, and now you have the auditing firms, let us have independent auditing firms to audit how much the government has spent fighting just one man, not even about Atiku. They're also fighting Atiku, but they concentrate all their efforts on Obi, and they make appointments or special advisors who are always speaking about Obi. Like the character from Borno State who was against Tinubu, who called Tinubu so many unpredictable names, or the other loafer that was made an ambassador, who even organized protest against Tinubu, calling him all kinds of names, a drug baron and the rest, only for Tinubu to appoint him as an ambassador because he recanted. You understand? So I mean, the country is just it's a joke. Let me use that word.